Okay. Hey there, Rockstar. Matt here. Welcome to the Epic Real Estate Investing Show, where we show people how to invest in real estate so they can escape the daily grind and retire early. And today we're going to talk about how to invest during a recession, specifically the do's and don'ts. And I've got a great guest for you today. I'm very excited about this guest and getting to know him a little bit more and tapping into his expertise and letting you guys tap into it as well. Before I introduce him to you, though, I'm still waiting for him to log on. We're having some technical difficulties, but we'll get it figured out. Always do. Just a quick reminder about this Saturday's live virtual workshop, where we'll be going in depth on really the same subject with a number of experts, just like our guest today. So if you'd like some more info on what we're doing, head over to flipthescriptworkshop.com. And if you like what you see, join us, because the market seems to be flipping, and so we're going to need to flip with it if we expect to thrive in the way that we have over the last 10 years or so, because it's going to be a very, very different market. I've been through a couple of these downturns just like this, and it's I'm sorry, I'm managing the technical difficulty. It's so hard being the talent and the producer and the writer and the such and such, and it's like everything. But anyway, hopefully he'll be able to get in here. But I've been through a couple of these downturns, and you do have to shift. You have to change your approach, and it's around your marketing. It's around your conversion, your that conversion conversation. It's around your exit strategies, and so you just got to really understand how to navigate this, because there's really no good or bad markets, right? There's just up markets and there are down markets. And so when the market changes the game on you, you just got to change the way that you play it, right? So there's always a relative low price to purchase at. There's always a relative high price to exit at, and it all works. So Jerry looks like he's going to reboot and try coming back. But good to see you all, guys. It's good to see everybody. Got a lot of big draw for Jerry. He's a great dude, and looks like you're all excited to see him as well. So good to see you. Let's see, Michael Rivera. New realtor here, wanting to learn as much as I can and hopefully want to complete my first deal by the end of this month. Thank you for the information. Absolutely. Let's get that deal done for sure. Who else we got? We got Roblox. I'm in Maryland, but been interested in the DE market because of low tax. I lost my income, but saving up once again. All right. Good job. I've gone through a few restarts in my life, so good to see you. Mighty Savage. We have two of the top gurus gracing us today. Oh, well, thank you. It's so weird. I never set out to with my intent and ambitions to be a guru, and I didn't even know I was one until somebody called me one. But anyway, thank you for that. If I'm in the same company as Jerry, that's a good place to be. New wholesaler from NOLA. Good to see you. Excited to begin this journey. Very good. Hello, Victor. Good to see you. Awesome. And then let's see. All right. I'm new and I think I can flip this house, but I need help. Very good. Well, that's why we're here. So Jerry is still logging on, and you can tell that I'm just going to chat with you guys for a second. But I don't know. What are you guys seeing in the market right now? What are you noticing that's different? I'm already noticing that the conversations with sellers are different. I'm thinking that. Yeah, or I'm seeing that. I'm hearing that. Let's see, who else? Do you think Oklahoma has good markets? I think every market is a good market. I think if people live there and they have any sort of affinity towards having shelter over their head, I think they are. All real estate is good. I don't think there's a bad market. I really don't. There might be some that might have a little bit more advantages than others. I think there's some others that lend themselves to higher volume. I've got students that, and it's funny because every Thursday night I do a group call with all my students, and some of the students will come on and they'll talk about. We start with our wins, and they'll share, hey, I did 7 deals this month. I did 6 deals this week, whatever it may be, like a high number. And then there's other students that just did 1 every other month. But the big difference is the markets that they're in. So if you're in the Midwest, like in a St. Louis or a Cleveland, you can get really high volume there. But you're making $2,000-$5,000 per wholesale. in a Southern California or a Miami or a San Francisco, they might do one wholesale, one flip every other month, but they got $50,000 check. So when we talk about whether the market is good or not, or if your market is good, the the opportunities are there. Life happens to everybody, unfortunately, and everyone finds themselves in some level of distress at some point. And so many of those people will turn to their house for some sort of financial relief, and that's how it goes. But let's see. On market deals are underrated gems. I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to agree with you there, Matt Lopez. I've always shied away from the on market deals, but starting to see them for sure. We're starting to see some stuff. Let's see, who's this? Nathan King. Ain't seen this guy in a while. What's up, man? What's up, Nathan? I ain't seen you in a while either. Where have you been? I've been right here. All right, there he is. All right. The big man himself, Jerry Norton. Don't got your volume yet. I probably should have let you get settled first. But people are anxious to see you, bud. They're anxious to hear from you. I couldn't have all these people here just for me. That wouldn't be possible. All right. So I'm just answering some questions while you get your mic set up. Okay. Let's see. What question we got here? Do you see legislation in all states changing to have wholesalers licensed in the near future? And would you advise people to get their license even without those new rules? That's a good question. And that's something that Jerry, I know, has addressed a few times. So I'm going to go ahead and save that for him to talk on it. I have my own thoughts on it, but he's a little bit more in tune with that, I think. So we'll let Jerry address that. And then there we go. We're on the Jerry Springer Show. Right? Cool. All right. So let's see. Any other questions up here that I feel skilled enough to handle all by myself? Double close will be the new wholesale. I actually have different thoughts. I think potentially using option agreements could be the new wholesale. I got volume, I think. I heard something. Yeah, I just said Jerry Springer because someone said Jerry. So I was thinking the Jerry chant from the crowd. That's all. Oh my! You got to be careful what you say here. People will take it literally. How you doing? I'm hearing some volume over there. For some.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
I can hear you.
So where are you right now? Looks gorgeous.
I'm at my lake house in Montana.
Ah, nice. Everyone needs one of those, I think.
Right?
Yeah. How long are you staying there?
We've been here all summer. We're getting ready to leave in a couple weeks.
Very good. And I heard the home is Puerto Rico for you.
Yeah, we out of the year in Puerto Rico. That's right.
Sweet. Well, cool. Well, it's nice to meet you. We got like 50 million mutual friends, but we never got to meet before. So I was looking forward to this. And, I've been here rambling a little bit, so we should probably jump right into talking real estate.
Okay.
Because my rambling skills aren't what they used to be. Anyway, Jerry, so I guess we're moving into a new market. I'm noticing it. I mean, maybe I'm just making an assumption. Are you noticing it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone who's been in real estate the past couple years, we've gotten really spoiled. So, and everybody starts freaking out, right?
Right.
But and so I mean, the market ebbs and flows. We've been on a really great couple years, and I think we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. I can feel it in some of the deals I'm doing. Sellers willing to talk. Properties are sitting a little longer. So,
Yep. That's exactly what I'm seeing. I noticed it right away. It was almost an overnight shift where my seller conversations were much more pleasant. They were much more giving of information. I'm looking at my inbox through my CRM, and Usually I just see a bunch of numbers and no messages, but now I'm seeing half of them are coming in with actual voicemails and asking to be called back. And so I started noticing that right away.
I've seen a big upswing on my wholesaler email, a lot of lists,
Mm-hmm.
and so I know that they're getting more inventory as well. Active wholesalers that I network with that bring leads in the markets where I like to fix and flip, a lot more leads. So there as well.
Got it. So let's kind of talk about the three different elements. Like we've got our marketing, we've got those conversations, then we got our exit strategies. So let's kind of, I guess, address each one of those. As are we making any modifications or any adjustments? So as far as your marketing goes and how you're generating deals, well, let me ask you this first. Just before we answer that, how long have you been in real estate? Were you still investing in 2005, 6, 7? Did you make it all the way through that whole thing like I did?
Yeah, I got in 04. It took me about a year to go full time, mostly wholesaling at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rode through that whole wave through the 08 crash. I continued actively flipping at all during 08 through 2009, all the way 2012, when the market started to read things much differently then than we do now. But I think, Matt, that's the everybody watching. I'm getting a lot of questions. I'm sure you are too, which is now a good time to invest in real estate? Should I wait? And my answer is always, I believe as long as people live in houses, we have a business model. The way we do it might change, but in houses, which means we always have a business. We may change the way we do things. Actually very excited about a slowdown, because I think if we do things, there'll be a lot more opportunity. I mean, I don't know about you, but it's been a lot of work to get good deals. I'm excited for a time when we can get deals without as much work. Now, definitely change, but the idea of getting into deals that we've been doing it the past couple of years, that part I'm really excited about.
Mm-hmm. Me too. And what's also more exciting, and yes, everybody, Jerry's audio isn't the best, so they're wondering if it's on their end or on Jerry's end. But I think it's on Jerry's end. It's just
yeah, I'm having some internet problems. Let me go back inside the house. Sorry about this, guys. I'll try to get in a better spot. Tell me if that's a little better. No?
I think it is a little better. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's good. Hopefully, we're gonna make do. We're gonna do the best we can. So everybody, thank you for your patience. So the thing that, like, when you're talking about getting better deals, like, it's better deals, but I also got more options. I'm calling more people back. I allocate a certain amount of money each week to how I'm going to distribute it through the deals, and instead of like trying to pick the best 3 out of 4, I got the best 3 out of 10. And so that I'm seeing a lot. So that has a big adjustment on your your negotiating disposition. Like, you're not trying so hard to get every single one, and you don't have to work as hard. So I'm noticing that right away for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And, I like to be an acquisition engineer. Mostly I work with wholesalers and flippers, and a lot of people tend to offer as your only option. So I got to get this really low cash offer price. I like to implement creative. We've even been doing where we'll list property sale, then we'll go ahead and utilize a real estate license. We'll list it for them. I'm always looking for every maximum. How do I maximize every single lead that we get? Because it's energy, it's work, it's cost,
right,
to get in front of a seller. And if I'm having a conversation with it to win this lead, and so everyone's got to be thinking a little more creatively, multiple ways that you can take down deals other than just that low cash offer.
Yep, for sure. And that's always been kind of my game anyway. I always start with price, just because that's what sellers understand the most. So it takes less education on your part, But once you reach that impasse and you're not coming to seeing eye to eye on the price, then I've always gone towards the creative side of things. So what's nice about it is like they're more receptive now than they have been in the last few years. So this is good. So as far as
Yeah,
your marketing, go ahead.
I think right now, if we continue to see interest rates go up, that will create financing opportunities, because I think sellers are going to realize, hey, ideal, because I've got this 4% loan. So this buyer that's looking at this deal, they'll pay a whole lot more to get into that 4% loan than if they have to percent or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to see a lot more opportunity for creative and seller financing for sure.
Yep, yep. I just had a call last week. Actually put it up on the channel with a guy that had a 2.75% loan. And I was like, dude, like your loan is as much of an asset as your house is right now. And we were talking about that. And so I tried to put all the numbers. I was very excited, but he had a 2.75 and a 15-year loan. And so the payment was like double. And I was like, dude, you just killed my cash flow there, you know? But yes, those opportunities are coming. So what do you think about this? About a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I did an interview with Jason Hartman, and we were talking about the rising interest rates. And I can made that connection that, you know, this could really put a damper on subject to, because banks haven't been real aggressive on pursuing that acceleration clause, because the rates just got lower and lower and lower, and they have no incentive to do that. And I did this video last year, and I was just like, I think subject to is going to be dead once it moves, the interest rate starts moving up, because that's why it was put in place in the first place back in what was it, in the late 80s, I guess. But I haven't done a subject to in about a year. So have you done one, and have you noticed any sort of different reaction or exchanges with the banks?
Yeah, great question. I mean, and so we do quite a bit of subject to and seller finance, and we have involved with the way we structured the deal. So like a due on sale clause or any of those issues. But you might be right, that may be something that comes up here in the future with higher rates. I don't know. That's a great question. But the way I look at it is, buyer and I want to buy subject to, I'm actually using that seller's intention, that's an asset, to help the seller see how much of an asset, to kind of coach that seller on why they should actually sell subject to me, and how, because of his great interest rate. So I'll run the numbers and I'll say, look, but it's this number. If I've got to bring in new debt, you know, like if I got to buy it, finance it, hold it, or whatever, your deal is worth this much more to me, because it's all about that cash flow. So 7% is a huge swing in monthly payment, which means more for same property at a 4% rate. So I think it's how we position this, how we talk to sellers. I don't know that sellers really understand. By the way, Matt, I've got a handful of that exact loan. It's a 15-year RAM at an interest rate. Fannie did a deal where they had they let you do up to 10 of those for investment to that, and refinance a bunch of rentals using that same rate. And like that, I mean, like, it's like free money practically, you know. It's amazing that there's even a 5 interest rate on a loan. But
I mean, if you look at the inflation rate, even the rates at 6%, we're still being paid to borrow money by the economy, right? We're still at a negative 2% on an interest rate. So I mean, gosh, borrow as much as you can possibly get right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, and on those loans, I know you're right. Your payment goes way up because they're amortized over 15 versus 30. So, you know, I looked at it like, and I'm in a different situation than some people, but I'm low and more concerned about the other benefits, appreciation. And as long as that loan was positive $100 or $150, I was was all in on doing the 15 versus a 30. I'm getting that really low rate. I'm paying down that loan, way fast, and I'm capitalizing on the depreciation write-off. So it kind of hit the other things that were, for me anyway, on those loans.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not.
Yeah.
I did more of them, right?
Say that again.
Now I'm wishing I did more of those.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, hindsight, it's a killer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, all right. So as far as your exit strategies are going right now, what are the stuff you're doing more of, and you're being cautious of others? Is it changing anything about that, or is this business as usual for you?
Well, business as usual in the sense that I'm still. I think right now everybody should be doubling down because I think great deals are coming. So really should be making even more offers. We're get deeper discounts. I want a bigger deal now because I think you can get them. But fix and flip, which I like to do a lot of fix and flip, there are some very significant changes because like wholesaling, you're in the deal a little bit longer. Maybe you're in it for 4, 5, 6 months.
Right.
And we're on market. I'm looking at actives more than I ever did before because I want to set her sitting. So now the sold comps are a little less relevant because active mean a lot to me. I just looked at a deal that I was comping. 75 was my sold comps for flips, like renovated homes, at 250, and they were sitting for 45, 60 days, telling me 275 is not the ARV anymore.
Right.
And so ARVs down, being a little more conservative on ARV, and I've been getting, meaning doing very minimal work on houses because forgiving, they just want a house. Mm-hmm. So we've been really getting away with not much in the way, and now we're reevaluating that. Now I'm going back to regular fix and flip where we're going to replace that 10-year-old roof. Now I got to stand out. Now I got to be the best house. Whereas before you didn't. You have anything for sale and someone would buy it and pay over. I'm making some of those adjustments, but really this is just, if you've been in real estate since COVID, really, then you haven't followed fundamentals. If the fundamentals are, you better really understand your numbers. You better really understand, or you can't just ride appreciation and think that it's going to be worth 30 as soon as you list it in 3 months. Like you got to be following again sound business practices. People are going to be hurt that think they can get away with what they've been getting away with. I had to follow normal business practices, so I'm just going back to some of that. We just buy at a discount and relist and make a ton of money without doing anything.
Right.
So we are adjusting some of the ways that we're doing things back to the old way of doing things.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that, and we're still having a little bit of issue with your audio, so I'm going to kind of recap some of your stuff a little bit so people can hear, because I really get what I'm picking up what you're putting down. As far as you're running your comps and haven't known your numbers, you'd said something really key, and that's what I'm teaching all of my coaching students here, is that, we really haven't had to look at the for sales, the actives, for a really long time, because that would give you a skewed number of you're paying too much because everyone keeps going higher and higher and higher. But now, if your intent is to go ahead and flip that property, whether you fix it or not, you really want to look at what your competition is going to be once you actually do own it. What are the actives going to be? And I think, but I have a sold comp here for this 275 or whatever it is. But you have to understand that 275, it closed on that day, but it entered contract at least 30, maybe 45, 60 days before that. So that's really a snapshot of what the value was a month or two ago. And so you got to be really careful on that. The other part is when we're talking about, you hear it on the news all the time right now, how the market is cooling, the market is slowing. There's two things. The appreciation is cooling, but it's still appreciating. So there's one aspect of it. The second thing is the sales activity may be slowing, but the median price point continues to rise. So one thing that you had said is if you're going to be a fix and flipper now, you kind of have to be the best one on the market now. You have to put some money into it. You got to be the prettiest house, because that's still, at least here in Vegas with the agents that I know, there's still the auction type environment, the multiple bids on the nicest houses. Like if you're a B plus or a B, you are sitting. If you're an A minus, A plus, you're still selling really fast. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, like, I used to have some wouldn't touch, like, a 2-bedroom or a smaller square footage, a market where it didn't even matter. There's a buyer for it, just do it. And now I'm going back to, I got really closely at, am I in a quiet street? Do I have the right square footage? But when there's a buyer in the marketplace and he's got options, I got to be the best option.
Right.
Looking at how you're doing that rehab, you got to create an A minus, A. You want to move it and hit your numbers. So it's back to the fundamentals, right? The fundamentals: create a product that a buyer's going to want, that's going to hit an ideal buyer in your market. So I definitely agree with that. And I've listened to some of your stuff, Matt, and I tend to agree with you. I see a lot of like the market's going to crash and all the sensationalization, and that gets a lot of good is there's still the fundamentals of supply and demand. And I saw you in your videos recently, and you talked about 6 months of inventory versus. And so, guys, we're still in a negative. There's still not enough homes to meet the demand, and that's a real issue anytime soon. We cannot solve that problem overnight. And so, as long as buyers can place and there's not enough homes to meet that demand, we will not see a crash. So anything else is doing, it's the fundamentals of supply and demand.
Yep. 100%. I mean, to take that even further, when you say it's not going to end anytime soon, I mean, there's a lot of calculations, a lot of very smart people out there that have done these predictions. Since we hit our peak building in 2006-ish, and then, 2007 hit and everyone just stopped building and it went on a deep, deep dive. And that removed a lot of people from the industry that never came back. And the people that stayed were still, they're kind of licking their wounds for a while and didn't jump back into it too aggressively for a really long time. And that time was about 10 years of a deficit of building. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And what has compounded it and made it even worse is not only do we have a deficit of building, we had a surge in population that was approaching home buying age.
Yeah.
So this is how I see with the supply and demand part is that you've got the average, the peak age for the millennial right now is 32 years old. The average age of the first time home buyer is 34. So you could look at this and put those two together and really logically come to the conclusion that, wow, within the next 24 to 48 months, you will see more demand for housing than this country has ever seen in the history of its existence.
Yeah.
And we have a 10-year deficit of building. So it's like, yeah, I see.
And
go ahead.
To that as well, I read an article about this, but we've also seen in regulation and zoning requirements and difficulty, and even I've seen this personally because I do some new construction, and I would say in the past 5 years to get an approved building permit to just spec a house, like I'm not even talking to spec a house, has easily doubled. So we've made it more difficult to build, and now there's even less ability to supply that right now. And so that adds to what you're saying here, which is it's nice to meet this demand problem we have. And unless even if they drastically loosen criteria, a whole bunch of investment comes online and they start building again, it's going to take time to catch up with that.
Yep. I see really only like three options, and I've been thinking about this a lot. Either one, the government has to start building houses, or two, they got to start subsidizing and making it easier for builders to build houses,
Yeah.
or three, they do nothing, and we're just gonna have chaos, and we're gonna have multiple families living under single roofs. Because
Well, don't, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've been reading a lot of statistics, and rental demand has skyrocketed, and it's going to continue because rates go up. Less people can buy in now, right? So they're going to continue rent. So there's about 10 markets in the U.S. that have 20 to 30% rental increase, and across the board, I think nationally it's at like 15%.
yep.
And you can see it. Like Vegas, I mean, like it's insane to look at a 1-bedroom apartment B is like $1,900 or something like that. It's insane, and there's a waiting list. Find rentals. It's really difficult to find rentals.
Mm-hmm. There's two things that are happening right now that very rarely happen, and one we already touched on, where the CPI index, the inflation, is higher than the mortgage rates. So that's a rare occurrence, and that we have that right now. The second thing that's very rare is where rents are outpacing appreciation of the sales prices now. That it's usually like a 3-year lag that the rents have to catch up. And this is all just reflective of the demand. Like, people need housing. So if they're getting pushed out because of the mortgage rates and they can't afford to buy, well, then they got to go rent. But they still need a house. So either they're going to buy it or they're going to rent it. And so the idea of really sharpening your creative financing skills and being able to start taking some of these properties over subject to and with seller financing is really going to position yourself for the long term. I mean, you do just 10 of those, you're probably set for life. It might not be an immediate impact, but you are good. You're in a real stable position.
Yeah, I'm really thinking, Matt, that in the next 12 months, some loosening up. I think we're going to see. It's going to take a minute for sellers. I think it's happening, but I really see the effect. But I think sellers are going to really start to loosen up. They're going to get off of that. They're going to stop drinking their own Kool-Aid, as far as like, oh, my house is just going to be worth more and more and more. And you're going to see a whole nother level of motivation that we haven't seen in a while. The people that are, I like to call them acquisition engineers, but the people that be in front of those sellers, meaning you're doing that lead gen, you're getting on the phones, you're putting offers out there. You're going to get some amazing deals, but you've got people who are on the sidelines right now. And my advice is, like, get in the game, man. If you're concerned about deeper, but don't sit the sidelines right now. Get in the game, because some amazing deals, and they're there for the taking, I think.
For sure. And because of the supply and demand dynamic, I think this little slowdown we're experiencing right now could be the last little slowdown for a long time. I mean, if it lasts 6 months, maybe it lasts a year or two, but because of the amount of people in comparison to the amount of houses, it's going to continue to go up and up and up. So I don't think it's going to get any easier after this little, break that we're having right now.
If you think about it, Matt, like we look at like straight, for example, and it's so funny to me, the reaction to that, where people are like, man, in a couple months it went up so high. But yet, if you look historically, a 6% rate is actually not even that bad. Like that regular. That's not even not normal. And in a minute, when everyone kind of resets that, when rates go to 8, we're gonna think 6 is amazing. I think it's gonna be hilarious when that is that 6% is an amazing deal, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas right now it's like, oh my, leave 6%, because it's not, historically speaking.
Right. Well, shoot, in 2004-5, when it was a massive appreciation, we were at 5 and 6%. That's what the rates were. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So let's conclude this. It's to make say 3 action points. And let's answer the question: how to invest in real estate during a recession. So, what do you think is the first thing for everyone to keep in mind at all times?
Well, you have to turn on your I like to call it, I like to refer to lead gen as a faucet that you turn on and you never turn off. The fundamentals of wholesaling, flipping, any type of real estate investing is in front of enough leads, because if you don't have enough leads in front of you, however, then you're simply not going to have enough opportunity for sellers to say yes to your offer. It always starts with that. Like, everybody's got to understand, how do I get leads every single day? But I think big picture, if you're not getting those leads in front of them every single day, to be making 5 offers a day. If you make 5 offers a day where you're putting a number in front of a seller, if you do that on a consistent basis, you will be getting deals on a monthly basis. It's the scientific data of, the numbers. So if you're going to get in front of enough opportunity, I think that's first and foremost. I feel like that's kind of a given about that.
Number one. Yep. Leads.
First and foremost. I also feel a lot to be looking at your exits a little bit differently than you've been looking at them. If you've been planning on exit, or you just have a mindset that it's just going to get more just because time goes by, to adjust that and go back to really looking at data that's going to support an exit. And if you can feel good about that exit number by looking at relevant data, and include actives now. So this goes against everything I've been teaching, looking at things, which is put a lot more weight on actives and days on market. We touched on this a little bit before. Definitely be looking at properties, be like an A, like Matt said. I love your analogy, A minus, A plus, meaning is going to have high demand. Assuming I do things to it, maybe like fix it up or whatever. I'm not thinking about location. Does it have the features that a buyer's going to want? If somebody's on basements and this one doesn't have a basement, you got to be thinking through those things now. Because market, whatever your exits are, then you got to be thinking, how do I attract the buyers? I don't want to be sitting because I'm not the ideal property that. So I think that's 2. Look for properties that ideal buyers are going to want. Adjust your exit strategy. So be looking at ARVs, not just ARVs, but also repairs. What do I do to this property so that if a buyer's got 10 houses to pick from, he chooses, how do I make my house attractive, priced accordingly, so that a buyer one's on the market. And if you're making those small adjustments, I think those are small adjustments, Matt. You're going to win right now as the market corrects. And if we continue to decline, keep in mind, like we talked about, I don't think we're going to see this mass prices plummet and we get flooded with foreclosures. I just don't see that happening. And our mind is, everything we're talking about here is very market specific. I think some markets are going to weather this, just like I think the Phoenix is, and a lot of Florida markets, and the Las Vegas markets, the Sands markets, where the demand is just so ridiculously high that appreciation, maybe we see 15, or what I mean. Like, we're still going to see, and for housing in a lot of markets. So if you're not in one of those markets, looking at the trends, days on market, there's a lot of data that can help support what you do as far as how much it's going to drop. There's some good predictors out there that can help you. But I think if you're really paying closely attention to some of these indicators, you can make a very analysis. You can buy at some steep discount, phenomenal deals right now.
Totally agreed. Yeah, the sound didn't improve that much. So again, a lot of comments over here. So I'm going to try and recap for you a little bit, okay, so everyone can get it. So the first thing was steady leads. You need steady lead flow, right? So you got to, whether you're going to work for them or you're going to pay for them, they got to be steady. Second thing is you got to make offers. You got to make offers every day. When it comes to the real estate's value, it's all about location. When it comes to succeeding in real estate investing, it's offers, offers, offers. You gotta give the seller the ability to accept something. And I really I push it even a little bit further. You got to put it in writing. You have to put the pen in their hand and give them the ability to sign something. You got to do that, because if you don't do that, you can do everything else right and you're never going to make any money. Okay, so that was that. Third thing, and we're talking about, like, if you're going to be fixing and flipping, and I would say to some degree, maybe even rentals, but mostly fixing and flipping, you got to really pay attention to your customer now. What does your customer want? And right now we're looking at the grade A properties are still selling with multiple offers. And the ones that are B pluses and B minuses, like the ones like the wholesale stuff that we could put as a C plus and still sell it right away, that's all kind of slowing down a lot. So that was the other one. Pay attention to what your customer wants. You got to be a real service provider in that regard if you're going to be a fix and flipper. And I think the other big thing that you just said was key is it's not a national market anymore. The locations are going to be very individualized. And, for example, I've got a number of students in Florida, and I'm having very different conversations with them than I'm having with the people in St. Louis, right?
Or,
very different conversation.
Yeah.
And, I'll help one, and we're comping out a property, and we got all kinds of comps and all this stuff. And then we go to Florida, and like, oh my gosh, everyone's held onto their property and nobody has sold anything, and there aren't any comps. And I'm noticing this type of thing. And so, yeah, location is going to be important again. So did I miss anything? That was kind of it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, Jerry, let's do this again when you get back to civilization and we can hear you better, because people were trying to hear you, every word that you said, and they were hanging on every single word.
If you want, we can do it again, make the audio strong, but I apologize for that.
No, hey, it happens. And thanks for taking time out of I wouldn't want to be on YouTube if I had that in the background right now. So thank you very much. And thank you for giving to your people. And thank you for sharing this time with me.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay. Take care. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Yep.
All right, everybody, that wraps it up. And if you like what you heard, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to hear more, because I do this each and every single week. And this Saturday, I'm conducting a workshop very, very much on the exact same subject. And so I've got a bunch of friends and a bunch of people talking about the new strategies and the new tools that they're using and all the different resources and how they're approaching the recession market. So if you'd like to join us, you can go to flipthescript.com. flipthescriptworkshop.com. There it is right there on your screen. I put a little link in the description for you too. So if you'd like to join us, love to have you. If not, we will see you next time. All right. So take care. God bless. To your success. I am